4:30 in the afternoon right now, and we're actually at Amapondo Backpackers Lodge in Port St. John's. Left Pinetown at about 6-7 a.m. and took the N2 south towards Port St. John's. So the N2 is actually perfect all the way down. The roads are perfect, it's smooth, wasn't too busy, and sort of you spend about 2 hours on the N2 until you turn off onto the R61. So when you get onto the R61, I think that's when, you know, the trip changes slightly. Well, not slightly, actually, in a big way. I think just because the road itself is not too bad. There are a few potholes here and there, but nothing crazy. But it sort of winds through the mountain and it sort of crisscrosses. There's a lot of corners and turns. There's animals on the side, and you pass through a lot of rural towns. So yeah, it's not the best because you pass through towns like Mbizana, Flagstaff, Lusikisiki, and I think at Flagstaff it's quite busy there, and there's just one road in and then one road out. So if you get there and you're unlucky in terms of traffic, then you can almost be stuck in standstill traffic for a while. And I also don't really think it's the safest through all of these towns, so you gotta be careful. Port St. John's as a coastal town, it's really nice. This is my first time here, so yeah, Port St. John's is a really nice place, and the beach is really lovely. I'll just show you guys the beach from the balcony of the backpackers lodge that we're staying at. So yeah, the room that we have and the place that we're staying at is pretty nice, but I think you know, Port St. John's itself, the town itself looks quite dilapidated. There's no real shopping center here. There are places to get a few odds and ends, but I don't really feel too safe to stop and go and get stuff and whatever. So Port St. John's, I think it'd probably be my first and last time here. I might use it again as a way through, but yeah, that's my thoughts on it. But tomorrow is obviously a big day, and then tomorrow we'll be heading all the way south to Addo Elephant National Park. So I will see you on the road for that. Just a quick stop at Shell Ultra City, Kai Bridge, and then back on the road now. So last stop before Addo is Nanaga Express, which is about 45 minutes from here. So we're now just making the last stretch, and we'll see you there. We're stopping at Addo Square. It's just a few kilometers past the Addo Elephant main gate, and you can come here if you want to buy some clothes at Ackerman's or just get a few drinks before entering the park.
fire, huh?
Yeah, there's no fire upstairs. I don't think I need it, eh?
Now you go straight to the section, enjoy.
Sure, thank you. The sun is setting now at Addo, and it's really beautiful here. Nice and peaceful as well at our campsite. We made it here at about 2 o'clock, and we took a bit longer because we stayed on the N2 and then turned off onto the N10 to get to Addo. So I think we preferred to take the longer road just because we preferred to stay on the national roads, and the roads were in good condition and quiet today, so I think that was a good decision. So yeah, we just had something to eat, and then we're gonna, I think, just have a few drinks, and then yeah, just have an early night tonight. And yeah, so here's our campsite, and then yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. So we just had a bit of a slow morning, had some breakfast, and it's midday, about 12:30, and we heading out on a game drive. So let's see what we see. We at Roydam. Look at the number of elephants here. Addo is proving really beautiful so far. Roads are good. The bush is kind of thick at the moment, but yeah, I suppose you do see quite a bit in between. Yeah, there's plenty elephants. So in Addo, you will see these fences. And these are actually botanical reserves in Addo. So there's 3 of them around the park, and according to the map, the botanical reserves, so this 500 hectare botanical reserve was created to monitor the impact of large herbivores, particularly elephants, on the subtropical thicket vegetation. No elephants had a cross to this area before it was fenced off, meaning that it has not seen the effects of elephants for over 100 years. Plant species and vegetation structure within the reserve are compared with similar areas outside the reserve to monitor effects of browsing. So yeah, there's a few of these around the parks. It's actually quite interesting to see that sands parks have this kind of study going on, just to monitor the impact of mainly elephants on the vegetation, which is pretty cool. And it looks like elephants haven't been able to knock down this fence, so maybe for the study. So this is actually a partial exclusion waterhole. So what the board says is that elephant management in Addo focuses on limiting elephant impacts rather than on culling elephants. So what the park does, I think, is manipulates water distribution in certain parts of the park, because elephants usually dominate the water holes. So what happens here is that they put up a fence around a small watering hole, so that elephants are then able to not come here, and then other smaller animals like buck and so on are able to then have access to water, which is pretty cool.
I think.
It's day 3 at Addo, and it's also Christmas Day today. Had a good sleep in the Easy On Galaxy last night. But chilly though. And yeah, now just having some breakfast, having some rusks and some coffee, and probably then go and shower. 2 o'clock, we have a reservation at the Cattle Barrel restaurant here, so probably stay in camp for most of the day and just relax. But I will take you guys to the underground hide and the sort of open viewing area that the camp has later on. section of the park. So Addo is South Africa's only Big 7 national park, and I think the Big 7 comes about, the last two come about due to the marine section, which is where we're heading to. So I haven't found a lot of information to do with the marine section, but I have asked one of the rangers, and they mentioned that what you need to do if you're at Addo Elephant main camp is to go all the way to the south side to Matiholweni gate, and you exit the gate, cross over the N2, and then once you get over the N2, you then get to an area called Colchester, and then at Colchester there's a spa, and then behind the spa is where the marine section is. So that's where we'll be going today, and we'll see you there. So it's 10 o'clock and it took us about 2 hours to get to Matiholweni gate from Addo Elephant main gate. So we're just gonna take a quick stop at the reception here, get some snacks or whatever, and then head to the marine section of the park. So we got a bit confused because there's not a lot of boards here signaling that here's Addo Marine Protected Area, whatever. But at the spa, next to the spa, there's a restaurant called a Taste of Africa, and then in the restaurant there's like a small kind of office there where you can find out some more information. And then the guy at the office told me that what you need to do is just go towards the back, then you go towards Pearson Park, and then you enter Pearson Park on the right hand side, which I will show you now. And then so when you get into, that's when you sort of get into the Addo Marine Protected Area. So this whole region is actually protected by Addo itself, but it's still Pearson Park as well. So I think that's where the confusion lies, because some people don't know that it's Addo's protected area. They would call it Pearson's Park, but you just get here. So when you get to this Pearson Park entrance, you go over to the right hand side. I believe it would be this way. So you go right, and then that's when you get your information about Addo and what to pay or whatever. So we're actually at Pearson's Park, which is actually the Addo Marine Protected Area. So I think it's like, I think that's why a lot of people are confused about the place, because it's actually Pearson's Park. But you will see the boards for Addo here, like this. And it's just, so it's actually 50 Rand per adult to get in here, and it's basically just sort of like going to the beach. There's no animals or anything here, but we're going to take a bit of a walk more on the beach and see what you can see there. But here's the view from the Marine Protected Area. Quite a lovely place actually. Done with the Marine Protected Area, just having some lunch at Taste of Africa, which is by Colchester Spa.
So guys, how far? So far, Taste of Africa good for you?
Perfect.
Good with my soul as well. Enjoy.
Thanks, Milo.
Let's go.
So just got back to in Addo, and came back to the South Gate after having lunch at Taste of Africa. We're just gonna make our way back to the Addo main camp, which is where we're having our last night tonight, and it's 2 o'clock now, so we're gonna probably do a game drive and drive all around the park for the next 4 hours or so before the gate close, and then after that go back to camp and just relax before we head to the Camdeboo National Park tomorrow. Whew. It's 45 degrees.